Hello there everyone, my name is Crazy Caleb, and today we're going to be taking a look at a very tricky module, but a very familiar module, Cruel Match'em. So for those of you who are familiar with the normal variant of Match'em, it's going to look very similar to Match'em as you'd expect. However, Cruel Match'em has a dark background compared to normal Match'em, which has a sort of lighter background. It's like a more of green, I'd say. Um, and also the playing field looks a bit different. It's not a red; it's more of a green. So it's definitely easier, and it's easy enough to distinguish them from one another. Um, but another one of the key distinctions that you'll be able to figure out with Cruel Match'em is taking a look at the playing field here. There are actually no like identical pairs at all. There are still going to be 12 different pairs we have to figure out, but because of the fact that there are no present there are no actual pairs that correspond with each other. That means we're gonna have to do some work to figure out what those 12 pairs are. With, of course, our casual one remaining Joker card that will always remain unpaired. So 25 cards, similar concept. We're gonna go through this, figure out what our pairs are, um, do a couple shuffles, and then we're going to flip them over with the pairs, and then we'll be done. So, on this module, play field with 25 cards, arranged in 5 rows, as you would expect. There is a series of 12 different suits: chevrons, clubs, coins, cups, diamonds, eyes, hearts, pentacles, shields, and 6-pointed stars, spades, and swords. And one of 12 different colors: red, orange, yellow, lime forest blue, cyan, violet, pink, white, bronze, and silver. The colors will always be marked in their first letter, except for the case of which you're going to be looking at bronze, because there is both a Bravo for blue and a Bravo for bronze. The bronze will simply be marked with Zulu, as you can see on the module here, right here. You don't have any blues, but obviously you'll know blue from apart. But otherwise, all of the colors will be marked in their first letter in the center right here, and they'll have their little shapes. This is a 6-pointed star. This is a shield. This is a heart. This is a star. And so on and so forth. Or rather, I believe it refers to pentacles as these guys. So yeah. But that's the way that you distinct from them from one another. So let's get going into this module. So, um, obviously, as I said before, none of the 25 cards on the playing field are identical. That's the whole catch with Cruel Match'em, because there is nothing that is identical from one another. So what we need to do is we need to use this table here to figure out what pairs we could potentially do with each different card. Now, of course, there is going to be the possibility of all the different suits in all of the different colors, but what we need to do is we need to figure out what exactly we're going to be doing at this table. So, looking at this instruction here, the table below contains every possible card, and every card other than the Joker is paired with either its vertical, horizontal, or diametric opposite in the table. Now, what exactly does this mean? So, let's actually take a look at our first card here. We have a white diamond. Let's find this in the table, and it's going to be right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark the halfway point of both the vertical and the horizontal axis of this entire grid here. And these two lines are essentially what we're going to be doing to give us our diametric opposites. So we're gonna let's do our vertical opposite first. So our vertical opposite from this white diamond, if we go towards the center, we need to go 1, 2, 3 to get to here. Then from violet, we need to go 1, 2, and 3 to get to the cyan shield, and that is what we do for the vertically opposite. Likewise with the horizontal line, let's do horizontally opposite, which, based off of where we're at, that takes us down to the orange spade. I'm just going to simplify it real quick, which is how these diametrically opposite worked, or these opposites work. This is how it works. Now, with diametrically opposite, one of the ways that I like to think about it is, since we have our vertically opposite and we have our horizontally opposite, from any one of those points, we simply just do the opposite of the opposite one that we just did. We simply do, if we did vertical, we do the other one, which is horizontal, to get us our diametrically opposite, which is the violet sword here. So we go to the cyan shield, then we do the horizontally opposite from the cyan shield, which takes us to the violet sword. Likewise, we do the horizontally opposite, then we do the vertically opposite over to the violet sword. And that is um, these three parts, these three colors and suits are the potential possibilities of what we could be looking at here. So let's see if we can actually find any of these pairs on the actual module. So with the white diamond, cyan shield, there's no cyan shield on here. Violet sword, there is no violet sword. Oh, don't tell me I actually found my Joker card first time around. And there's an orange spade. I think I might have just found my Joker card, so I'm gonna mark this guy in the interactive that we're gonna use. I'm gonna use the interactive for matchup because by the time I made the actual matchup tutorial, I don't think I don't think I knew it existed, but thankfully we're gonna have a good resource for us to use. So I believe I've actually found my Joker card already with this white diamond here. So I will mark Alpha 1 as potential Joker, and we can come back to that. But we'll keep that in mind that the white diamond is indeed a potential joker, and it most likely is because I couldn't find any of those 3 cards that we were supposed to be looking for. And yeah, let's move on. So the next card is going to be a red coin. So let's find this on here. And I'm going to pretty much speed through these opposites on the table because this is probably the longest part of the module. And the rest of it's pretty straightforward until I get to the shuffles. I'll come back to that though. So, taking a look here, if we go vertically opposite, that'll take us to Lime Heart. Lime Heart is not present on here. If we do horizontally opposite, that takes us to Bronze Star. Bronze Star is actually present on here, so this means that this is the pair. This is a pair that works out right here. Since Red Coin is opposite the Bronze Star, and Bronze Star is present on the module, that means this is our first pair that we're going to work with here. So let's mark this is alpha. And these two will be the first pair that we get figured out. We get Red Coin and Bronze Star. Next up, let's take a look. We have Orange. I like to call this one the Banner. It might be called a Chevron. I don't really care. I like to call this one the Banner for some reason. And this one's actually in the dead center. So as you would suspect, these are the other 3 possibilities that you would be using to figure out what your pair is. And taking a look here, we have the white 6-pointed star on our module right here. This would be the one that is directly diametrically opposite to it. So this means that this is our second pair. And this is what we're going to be doing the entire time. So we have a Forest Sword. Forest Sword is vertically opposite Silver Shield. Silver Shield is present on the module, so that means that this is going to be our guy right here. Or at least here and here. Lime Star, Lime 5-pointed star. Right there. We have Pink Club, Yellow 6-pointed star, or Violet Star. Now, one of the clear indications that you obviously can make is that in most cases it should form either a square or a rectangle. More often than not, it'll be a rectangle just because of how this module works. But in many cases, you can actually be able to like just see the square or the rectangle that you get. So that's just a helpful way of making sure that you're doing this right. We don't have a violet. We don't have a violet 5-pointed star. We don't have pink clubs. We do have a yellow 6-pointed star right here, dead center. That'll be our next pair. Next up, red 5-pointed star. Red 5-pointed star is right there. That'll be. We have no blues. Oh, wrong one. Do we have a cyan diamond? Nope, not quite. But we do have an orange coin. We do have an orange coin, so that's right there at Charlie 4. So that is going to be our next pair. So Echo, you, and you. Orange heart. Orange heart is going to be right up there. Opposite is violet goblet. Nope. Or violet cup, rather. Um, yellow diamond. Yellow diamond is present on here, so that's going to be our next pair. So Foxtrot is going to be here and here. Okay. Next up, the next unmatched pair is going to be at Charlie 2. We have the Lime Stare. Lime Stare, or Lime Eye rather, is right over here. We have the Cyan Coin. Cyan Coin is indeed actually present on the module, so that's perfect. Our next pair is going to be here. So Lime Eye and Cyan Coin. Okay, Bronze Heart is going to be our next one. Bronze Heart right here. Over to Cyan 5-pointed star or Pentacle. Up to Cyan 6-pointed star, which is actually present on the module. That's what we need. Hotel is going to be you and you. Now, another thing I'd like to point out is that there is a list of commands for how the rotations actually work. I will briefly go over them, but if you happen to need any explanations, because the main one that you want to worry about is the shifting the columns and the rows, because right click and left click can affect each other. But I'll get back to that in just a moment after we figure out our pairs. Alright, we're nearing the end. Next up, Yellow Cup. Yellow Cup is right over here. So this is going to be either Lime Banner, nope, um, Forest Heart. Forest Heart is present on the modules, that's good. So this next one is going to be India, so you and you. All right. Next one in reading order is White Heart. White Heart. White Heart is going to be right here. Forest Coin. Nope. Um, Pink Heart. Pink Heart is present on the module, so that's what we need. So Juliet, next pair, right here and right here. All right, we have 2 more pairs left that we need to do, and if Alpha 1 is our Joker, then we should be good to go. So next up is going to be the Bronze Sword. Bronze Sword is going to be right. Where is it? Right here. We have the Silver Banner, the red 6-pointed star that is present right here in the bottom right. So our next pair is going to be Kilo. So right here and right here. Now, if my theory is correct, these the yellow 5-pointed star and the bronze club should be our last pair. The bronze club is right here, and just like that, if we do vertically opposite, that takes us to the 6-pointed, 6-pointed star, and then horizontally opposite, that takes us to the yellow 5-pointed star. And just like that, I was right. These guys are our next pairs, leaving this guy, our asterisk, with our Joker. So Alpha 1, the white diamond, was our Joker, which we happen to find immediately. And now that we've found all of our pairs, this means that we now get to go into the fun part that makes this module a living hellhole, the shuffles. So, if you remember how Match'em originally worked, what happened was that there would be one shuffle of one of these 4 types here. You would swap 2 rows or columns, 2 rows / columns. You would be shifting a row or column 1 space, whether that be left or right or up or down. That you would then rotate 4 cards around the center of the playfield, whether that be clockwise or counter. And then, of course, there would be the simple single swapping of 2 cards. That's just like, for example, you would have Bravo 2 and Echo 3. Those 2 would swap just individually. So that's what we're going to be doing. That would only happen on once, each time you would do a shuffle. However, with Cruel Match'em, 2 of those are happening at the exact same time. And this is exactly what can make this module very tricky, because it's a lot that's happening on the screen. So, thankfully enough, Speaking Evil has been generous, because that's a thing that's rare to say. He has provided us, if we go through all 8 shuffles, there will always be 8, by the way, for the initial number that'll be right in this little diamond right here. He has provided us with a reset button. So if we happen to not be confident with the with one of the shuffles in particular, we can totally just reset. The positions will be the same, and I'll be able to prove that to you, by the way. They will be the exact same positions as they were before, but we need what I prefer to do is I actually prefer to note down what the rotations actually are, and then doing them on the interactive afterwards, just to make sure that I'm safe and I know exactly what my rotations are, because obviously this is a lot, this is something that's easy to lose. Something that's easy to miss something real quick, and I'd rather not, quite frankly. So let's get into the actual rotations, and I'll show you what exactly I mean by how tricky these shuffles are. So let's hit start. All of the cards will flip over once I hit start, like so. The number 8 will pop up, and then you're able to click next from there on. So let's figure this out. So we have, for our first rotation, so we have a series of column shifting. So we have column 1 going to column 3, 3 going to 4, and then 4 going over to 1. So we're going to be swapping column 1 with 3, column 1 and 3, then column 4 with 1. I'll know what to do with that. So yeah, that's the first rotation. So it went from 1 to 3, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 4, and then 4 to 1 to 3 to 4 to 1. That should make sense to me. So that will be able to, that'll be our first rotation. So our next one's going to be Columns 3 and 4 swap, and I believe that was a rotation either up or down for the fourth one. I believe it was up, or it was shifting down. The card went up to the top. So column 3 and 4 swap. Column 4 shifts down. Okay, this is why the reset button is important, because you're able to figure this out and make sure that everything's good to go. So let's take a look at the next rotation. Okay, this will be column 4 shifts down. Column 4 shifts down 1. Column 5 shifts up. All right, next up. Okay, that's a lot happening there. What happened was row 2 and row 5 swapped, row 2, row 5, and then column 2, column 5 swapped. So row 2, row 5, and then column 2, 5. All right, next up. All right, row 3 shifts left, row 2 and 3 swap. So row 2, 3, row 3 shift left. All right, next up. Same exact thing as the first one, so we can actually just copy and paste that because it was shifting. It went 1 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 1, so we can just simply copy that. All right, next up. Okay, columns 1 and 2 swap, and then we have, so column 1, 2, then we have delta 2 and echo 1 swap single. That'll be a single swap right there. And for our final rotation, we have columns 3 and 5 swapping, and we have rows 1 and 3 swapping. So row 1, 3, and then column 3, 5. Now, I stand corrected with the reset button. The reset button only happens if you happen to flip over a card and a strike occurs. So actually, we thankfully noted down everything correctly, I believe, and we should be able to simply do the rotations on the interactive. So sorry for getting your hopes up, but unfortunately, I would have to strike on something, and I'm not that kind of person. So, but there is the reset button if you happen to like strike somewhere along the lines, but you just have to be careful with that. So let's go back here. So for our first one, we need to be shifting a series of columns. So we need to swap columns. So we need to do 1 to 3, then 3 to 4, then 4 to 1. So now, this is a bit tricky to actually do because 1 to 3 is, it's a little bit weird doing 1 to 3, then 3 to 4, then 4 to 1. So the way that I like to think about it is, we know that 4 is going to be going over to 1, and we know that 3 is going to be going over to 4. What if we simply do it in reverse order? So we do, for example, swapping 4 and 3, putting the Charlie right there, and then we simply do 3 and then 1, and just like that, everything is in its place. We shifted the 3 over to 4, and we switched the 1 and the 3, just like that. All right, so next up, columns 3 and 4 swap, and then column 4 shifts down. So columns 3 and 4 swap, and then we said column 4 shifts 1 down, which means that the lemma should be taken up to the top. Now, for shifting rows and columns, we're going to shift a row or column by pressing left click or right click. Left click causes a row to shift left, and a column to shift down. So we want to shift down, so we want to make sure we hit left click on when we select the shifting columns option. So we want to do left click to make sure that the lemma goes up top, and just like that, that rotation is done. Next up, column 4 shifts down, column 5 shifts up. So we want to shift this guy down, so the lemma should be going down, just like that. And now we're going to do, obviously, the opposite. Right-click causes a row to shift right, and a column to shift up. So we want to shift up for column 5, which should take the delta down to the bottom, and just like that it does. All right, next up, we're going to swap row 2 and 5, and then we're going to swap column 2 and column 5. So we're going to swap rows 2 and 5, and we're going to swap columns 2 and 5. Next up, row 2 and row 3 swap. So row 2, row 3 swap. Row 2, row 3. Then row 3 shifts to the left by 1. So we want to make sure that we get the foxtrot over to the right side. So we're going to shift row, and remember shifting rows. Left click causes a row to shift left, as you would expect, and right click causes it to shift right. So let's shift the foxtrot over to the right, and just like that, that transformation is done. Next up, we do the exact same thing we did at the first step, 1 to 3, and then 3 to 4, and then 4 to 1. So let's swap those columns. And this is all based on columns. I forgot to note down that it actually was columns, but this is what it is. So we're going to do 3 and 4 swap, and then we're going to do 3 and 1 swap. And just like that, that's done. Next up, we're going to swap columns 1 and 2. So 1 and 2. And then we're going to do a swap single of delta 2 and echo 1. So delta 2, echo 1. Just like that, that's done. And lastly, our last rotation that we're going to do, or transformation rather, that we're going to do is we're going to swap rows 1 and 3. And then we're going to swap columns 3 and 5. And now, hopefully we did everything right, and we should be able to flip over all of these cards. So we have our first pair being alpha right here and right here. Okay, that's promising. Next up is we can just look for whatever pairs. We can do here and here. Okay, that's very promising. Delta's right here and here. Okay. Foxtrot, Charlie 1, Charlie 5. Okay, good, good. Bravo 4 and Delta 4. Okay. Next up, we have hotels. Hotels at Echo 2, Echo 5. Promising. Okay, keep going. Golf's right here. Bravo's right here. We're going to skip over this because that's the Joker card. India's right here. Lima's. And now the final stretch, we have Kilo's right here. Now, for example, if I was to select something wrong, if I would select this Juliet here, this should give me a strike.
I'm afraid
Those cards will flip over, and the reset button does appear, but obviously we're in the home stretch, and we know where our last 2 pairs are. So we have Kilo here, just like that. That's good. And this is our Joker card. We're gonna leave that one. We're gonna leave that one flipped down, and we're gonna flip these guys over. And just like that is the solved module. As always, thank you guys for watching. Remember to stay crazy, stay cool, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.